Good day, everyone, and welcome to Obidient Family TV. The program is Hope Alive. Yes, there is hope, and a new Nigeria is certainly possible. Now, good morning, afternoon, and evening, depending your time zone. Today, we are here again to have discussion on what is happening in Nigeria, especially as the Northern Elders Forum and the governors, North-East governors, have decided that Tinubu has dealt so much with the North that it is really important for Nigerians to pay attention. One of the members of the Northern Elders Forum, which is Professor Usman Yusuf, slammed the renewed hope agenda of Chief Bola Tinubu, saying it has turned to hopelessness. Yusuf, as we know, is a former executive secretary of the National Health Insurance Scheme. He made this statement in the interview with the Nation's television on just yesterday. He said rather than Tinubu injecting the Nigerian people with some hope capsule, he said the Tinubu-led federal government has made Nigerians more hopeless in the last 1 year. That is coming at this very hour. And we will not forget also to bring to you what is actually trending as reactions trail the actions of Tinubu's meeting with His Excellency Peter Obi, as hints is on the way that he is stepping aside for His Excellency Peter Obi ahead of 2027. As we know, several reactions has come from people both on mainstream media and on the social media platform. People want to know, is this truth truly coming from Atiku? Is he going to be under PDP? Is he going to be under Labour? Is it going to be another party? So many discussions on this. But the short thing is he has voiced it out and it's clear out there that he is willing to step down for His Excellency Peter Obi. We are going to have this discussion on Peter Obi and also Peter Obi's visit from Enugu on condolence to visiting the victims of the terror attack, of the mosque terror attack in Kano State. All of this we have to discuss. I'm not the only one to have this discussion. I have Divine Dawns in the studio with me.
A very warm welcome and thank you for joining us on today's live broadcast. We're so glad to have you. Happy New Week.
Yes, so let's get to the reactions of what is happening as Atiku endorses Peter Obi. That happens to be different people with their different reactions, asking questions of whether he's going to be in PDP or is he going to be in a Labour Party and all of that. But we assure you from here, let's wait till that time comes. That's when we know whether it is going to be on PDP. But surely we believe that Peter Obi may not so willingly get back to PDP, having had those issues he had over there. But this very article's recent comment expressing his willingness to support His Excellency Peter Obi demonstrates his commitment to fairness, equity, and the unity of this country. This statement is a remarkable display of statesmanship, showcasing his ability to put the nation's interest above personal ambitions. By prioritizing the party's decision over his own aspiration, Atiku has proven himself to be a true Democrat, willing to sacrifice personal interest for the greater good. His support for Peter Obi, a candidate from the Southeast, as we know, also highlights his recognition of the region's rightful claim to the presidency, fostering a sense of inclusivity and balance in the political landscape of Nigeria. Atiku's consistency in advocating for a Southern candidate, should the party so decide, is a reassuring sign per se of his dedication to addressing the country's long-standing issues of marginalization and inequality. His leadership would undoubtedly prioritize national unity, economic growth, and social justice, making him a formidable contender in the upcoming election in 2027. Yes, we can rightfully say that Atiku Abubakar's recent comment in support of Peter Obi, should the party zone the presidency to the South, that is his party, will demonstrate his unwavering commitment to Nigerians' progress, his dedication to fairness and equity, and his ability to put the nation's interest above personal ambition. These qualities makes him an exceptional leader deserving a recognition. we can now clearly identify those who seek to undermine the progressive democratic party, if that is what they may be called, and Nigeria as a whole, driven by selfish, renegade, retrogressive, and irredentist motives. They aim to sabotage the party and the nation by insisting on a northern presidency. Let's come back to Studio Divine, because I see that my grammar is getting to this thing. There is so much talk on the media, and you see that social media is been agog with this, but you will notice that the mainstream media are not really talking. You understand? Whenever they see anything that tends to promote fairness and equity in Nigeria, especially as it concerns Peter Obi, they seem to like shut up.
Well, particularly, I feel every, true Democrat or anybody that has the interest of the Nigerian people at heart should be supporting His Excellency Peter Obi, because he's the person that we can see that has the antecedents of, being a savior, quote unquote, to Nigeria, right? And so his Atiku Abubakar coming out to say he may support him is really necessary, particularly because we know the way they play Nigerian politics, they play it like you have to have some form of support from a quote-unquote godfather, and this is somebody that is highly experienced in the Nigerian political ecosystem, so it is a welcome development, right? But there's a caveat to it. He said is if his party decides to zone their presidential ticket to the southeast or the south particularly. But I just think, aside Atiku just drumming some support, sort of support for Peter Obi, I just think that it is something that every true Nigerian or true Democrat that has the interest of Nigeria at heart, he should be supporting, or that person should be supporting Peter Obi.
Yeah, I think from the context that the reactions are coming from is from the fact that judging from what INEC polled, you understand me, yes, not by the people's this, but what they polled is that Atiku got over over 6 million votes, and when you consider that what Peter Obi also that they projected that Peter Obi had, you see that both of them has serious support people around Nigeria. Right. So if both of them can actually have some sort of coalition, you understand, then it will go. But now talking about his party, which is the PDP, some people questions whether it is Wike that controls PDP or Atiku, but we do know that Wike has fallen out of grace because of what is happening in Rivers and may not even be a force to reckon with come 2027.
But I mean, it's still, all of this is still something that we have to take into, consideration, because Wike has a specialty for playing both sides. So I don't particularly think we should remove the fact that he might have some quote-unquote structures in this Rivers State. Yes, it looks like he's already losing his grip. But at the same time, I think Nigerians and every political elite or somebody, whoever it is that's interested in Nigerian policies, should not be, we should not be quick to just dump Wike aside, in the sense that we're trying to say maybe he has no hold of any structure in Rivers State. He might have fallen out of grace, but at the same time, when we're talking about power here, there's really nothing these people won't do to actually retain power. So I'm just saying, everybody should just come outside and drum their support for His Excellency Peter Obi, right? If we get, quote-unquote, a coalition from Atiku and Peter Obi, it's going to be a more formidable, opposition to dethrone this current government that is sitting, particularly.
So in a nutshell, the expectation is that Atiku probably should shelter his ambition, notwithstanding whether the zoning of his party is concerned or not. And I think I agree with you, because looking the fact that Atiku has gotten of age, just like the others, let's hope he quits and then joins and supports fully His Excellency Peter Obi. And still on the matter of Peter Obi, we also know that His Excellency visited Enugu State for Junior Pope's burial, and also from Enugu, he also went to Kano to visit the victims. And there's one thing before I get to PO's statements and all of that. Something is very special here. This very mosque attack in Kano, you understand me, it was very frustrating for Kano people, very painful thing that happened over there. But we noticed that there has no, either from the presidential or let's say government coming in to console the people. And PO has to leave his tight schedule to actually go to Kano State to condole with these people. I've not heard Chief Bola Tinubu make pronouncement as to that, because that is a terror attack in the people of Kano State at the time when they were having their prayers.
Well, particularly, we know His Excellency Peter Obi to be someone who has a lot of empathy, especially as he relates to the Nigerian people. So I'm not surprised to see him here. He has always, identified with the struggles of Nigerians and everything they face. Particularly, he makes it a point of duty to also, let Nigerians know that they are not, alone in their plight. So he tries to identify with the struggles and with the pains. And like you rightly said, the government of the day will not heard anything serious that they are saying concerning the people that lost their lives, not any condolences or even like a delegation. Let's agree that maybe you're so busy and you can't make out time to be there, but probably a delegation would have sufficed to tell the people of Kano State that, oh, we share in this pain and we don't support this violence that has happened. But I mean, we know that this is not something that is their forte. They particularly are very detached from the reality of the average Nigerian. So kudos to His Excellency Peter Obi for always being the leader that is always in touch with his people.
Yes, let's now take what His Excellency Peter Obi has to say about his visit to Kano, and then we take it from there. And in quote, he said, "I'm deeply saddened by the horrific and devastating terror attack that occurred on May 16, 2024 at Gazewa local government area of Kano State during the morning prayer session. A suspected terrorist had carried out a petrol bomb attack on the mosque, killing at least 11 people, while many others who sustained varying degrees of injuries are still receiving treatment at the hospital. This senseless act of violence has sent shockwaves through the community, leaving everyone in a state of grief and disbelief. The fact that it occurred in a place of worship, where people gather to find peace and solace, makes it even more heart-wrenching. I sincerely condole with the government of Kano State, the Emir of Kano, Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero, the people of Kano over this very sad incident. I extend my thoughts and prayers, especially to the families of the victims, and I wish a speedy recovery to those still fighting for their lives." And that is His Excellency Peter Obi lending his voice to what happened. And this actually informs why there's so much love for Peter Obi, even at the northern people, that they say, oh, the outside doesn't like Igbo and all of that. That is nonsense, because we believe that there is love and unity in Nigeria, especially if you are doing the right thing.
Right. Well, kudos to His Excellency Peter, because I realized how much, stressfully, mind you, just days ago, he was in Kenya for a summit. From Kenya, he went to Enugu. From Enugu, he transported himself down to Kano State. So we realized that this is somebody that is taking a toll on not just his physical health.
The president of the people.
He's also taking a toll on his financial, capacity, because the fact that his money he's using to fly from these different places to identify with Nigerians and their struggles. So kudos to him, because sincerely, election is still in 2027, right?
It's far off.
Usually we get to see this kind of quote-unquote good deeds probably like 2-3 months to election. That's when you see different Nigerian politicians trying to, fake, the communication with Nigerians. But we're still 3 years away from the next presidential election. But he's just really telling us that, aside any election, whether or not I am sitting on that seat, I am a leader, and I really, really just, relates to the people of the country. So I think that is very, applaudable, and kudos to His Excellency Peter Obi.
Yes, I think, haven't heard all of this. I will also, implore people to actually check out PO's or what he has to say on X, which is formerly Twitter, to get the insight of all what he has to say about those places he went to and other things between. So let's get to the other things that are on our table. I note that this Northeast governor sat and actually had a hit on Tinubu's government, and it is taking a discourse in the national televisions and all of that. Let's even first hear where they said that this renewed hope is now Hopelessness. This is coming out from the Northeast Governors Forum and also some notable Northerns. Well, people have lost hope. It pains me to see our people lining up to collect cups of palliative. Renewed hope has turned into hopelessness. People have lost hope. In quote, this is coming from one of the professors at the North who said the last 1 year has been a year of nothing but deception, destitution, and hopelessness. From next week, they will start telling us their propaganda. What have they done to benefit the ordinary people? That's the question. In a span of 1 year, they have brought millions of people back into multi-dimensional poverty. They have pushed millions more and more people, school children, out of school because their parents cannot pay for their school fees, he said. This is Professor Yusuf, who described the economic management team of the president of Chief Bola Tinubu as tax collectors rather than economics. He said the economic team, to him, looks more like tax collectors than economics. Taxation, he said, does not grow the economy. Only production does, he said. Now, let's take a snippet of what this Professor Yusuf had to say before we get into what the Northeast Governors Forum said. Let's take a snippet of what he said before we get going.
In the last 1 year, and from next week, they will start telling us their propaganda. What have they done that has benefited the ordinary person? What have they done? In a span of 1 year, they have made millions more people back into multidimensional poverty. They have pushed millions more children out of school because parents cannot pay for their school fees. They have put many more people hungry in 1 year. So what have you done? What have you done? I want government to tell us. Don't give me the story about, oh, they're just floating the dollar. It's all another deception. You increase the taxes, you hike the interest rate, and you borrow money thinking you'll prop the naira artificially. And you keep taxing everybody. This is exactly what he did, what the president did in Lagos. Tax, 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 tax. And the economic team, to me, honestly, look more like tax collectors than economists. Taxation does not grow economies. Only production does. They seem out of out of their depth, to be honest. The common man does not see the way out. The last year has been a year of nothing but deception, destitution, and hopelessness.
Well, I think this Professor Yusuf, the snippet of what we have, of course, we are going to go into the longer version of what was said, but it seems this man is correct in the sense that he's talking about more taxation. These people are actually acting like tax collectors other than economists because they are not talking about production. Recall the time of this approval for Hajj of 90 billion naira that they did, and when you look at that, you see that they are placing their priorities on things that are not helping the country. That very money, when you put that into production, you see that it will make more. So it seems, or rather, I do agree with taxation issue. They are acting more of tax collectors.
Well, that is very, very correct because the amount of taxes we've seen over the last 1 year is something that is very foreign to Nigerians, because for a group of people who are doing nothing to actually elevate the living conditions of the masses, they seem to have a lot to be asking from Nigerians. Cybersecurity levy, airport toll gate levy, just different things. We wake up to new tariffs every day. They removed the fuel subsidy, removed education subsidy, removed electricity subsidy, and yet we still cannot account for all these billions of naira that is supposedly being saved by the removal of all of these subsidies. Like, it is particularly true because we're not seeing anything that is remotely suggesting a group of people who know what they are doing. It is just taxation, taxation, taxation. And even all the taxes they collect, we still can't account for what it is being used for. They just assign them to very, insane projects that have no worth, things like 90 billion naira for Hajj subsidy. Particularly when I heard that 90 billion for Hajj subsidy, it was very triggering because we know the drama that came up when they were trying to sign the 5 billion student naira loan into law, all the drama that came into it. But you have 90 billion naira to subsidize a religious exercise that has no effect on the economy. So it is just particularly sad. And I think this current government needs to go back to the drawing board if they intend to salvage whatever it is that is left of their remaining tenure. So I just think that is exactly what he has to say about it.
Yeah, okay. So we already, I understand all of this. You are very, very correct in those assertions. Let's take a listen to what the Northeast governors has to say about Tinubu, and then we get on with other things that we have quickly.
Trades is concerned over the seeming neglect of the Northeast in the allocation of the federal government capital project. It noted with dismay that despite its cry for attention on the state of infrastructure in the region, which has been consistently echoed in all its communique over the years, especially the poor roads and railway infrastructures along the economic corridors that links the Northeast sub-region to the rest of the country. The region is also not included in the National Infrastructure Plan for the transition from the PMS to compressed gas. The forum is calling on the federal government to look into the situation and consider the reconstruction of these basic infrastructures along Enugu-Maiduguri economic corridors and inclusion of the Northeast in all national development plans and initiatives.
In as much as the Northeast governors are actually converging in a meeting to condemn Chief Bola Tinubu's economic policies and all of that, I think they are not playing their role as leaders in their different states, because we still see that poverty is ravaging their states, and most of their location that they collect, we can't even, see the, where they place those FARC, that is the money they collect from Abuja. We don't see how we see a lot of street beggars, and again, we also understand that terrorists are actually ravaging various communities, sacking people out from their farmland, and they are not doing much about it.
Well, let me start by saying I think the majority of this Northern Elders Forum, or rather this Northeast Governors Forum, I think they are hypocrites. Let's start from there, because these are the same people that when Chief Tinubu was coming out for, this election, when it was different candidates, we were told to vote based on people that we know had capacity to take Nigeria to where it is we need to be. But they were voting based on sentiments, voting based on what they intended to collect behind closed doors from whoever and whatever candidate. And so right now, it has really, backfired on them, because now this politics, anybody can say, if you give me the seats, I'm going to do this for your region. And now they've realized that it is not the same thing that they were promised that they are getting. It's just they're really being cheated on the whatever they bargained on. So I particularly think they're hypocrites. The reason why they're coming out to speak is because now they're not getting whatever it is. They're not getting the prayers or the allocations that they expected by supporting this particular candidate. So that's besides the point. And secondly, about your point of what are they doing? Because, I mean, aside coming to complain and coming to say the government is not doing this for you, as a group of people who are in charge of a region, when you get all those allocations you get monthly from the Federation account and all of that, what do you use it to do to alleviate the suffering of your people? Because it's beyond blaming the government. Yes, we understand that the government is not particularly doing what they need to do, but at the same time, you are the head of a sub-region, right? So you should be able to actually do things. At least when you get the basics of the, allocation, you should be able to make life easy for your people. But we've seen majority of the northern governors, we are always hearing about, they are always in some scandal about how they took so billion and how they, looted their people. So they should just go back to the drawing board. Beyond complaining, maybe they should learn to actually make sure they use the allocations that they get, and also try not to support candidates based on what they expect to get at the end of the day.
You know, why I bring that up is because of these very shortages of food that is ongoing, and you know, it's attributed to the actions taken by terrorists who, you know, sack farmers from their farmlands across the northern states. And this issue that is lingering about party and all of that has hit not just Labour Party now that is having a problem. APC is having godfatherism issues, and also the PDP. So why the APC and the PDP, the Labour Party godfathers and godsons, are squabbling over either the spoils of office or position of power? Food inflation is now well over 40%, and it is raising serious food security concerns. And at a time of deep economic uncertainty, the naira is still unstable. Then there is this unemployment of more than 35%, and over half the population living in extreme poverty in Nigeria. The frustration among the youth, who make up more than 50% of this embattled population, is growing, and for faith in democracy to endure, those in elected position need to be seen to be bringing tangible gains to the people they govern. Well, I think that is as much as I can say about the issue. So we have Oseni Rufai, who also said that Tinubu has managed to achieve what most of us thought was impossible last year. He has performed worse than Buhari. To crown it all, Nigeria, by the end of this year, will decline from the largest economy in Africa to number 4. Divine, I agree with Oseni Rufai, who said that what we thought is impossible has actually happened. And you know, when Buhari was leaving, he said Nigeria will have a cause to be grateful to have had him. And it's happening now. I think that is where Oseni Rufai of Arise TV is coming from.
But it's really sad, you know, I think, because the fact that we're talking about him doing the impossible and it's not in a positive light, I think it shows a lot about his, you know, leadership capacity or capabilities, because the things that we've seen, the deterioration that is in the Nigerian, you know, ecosystem currently is so sad. Things that we did not expect. The inflation is at an all-time high, and so particularly we understand what he's saying, because we never thought it was possible for it to get this bad. Usually we've seen it bad, but it's getting, you know, progressively worse, and I think it's very, very sad, and that is all thanks to him and his group of you know, people who know nothing about
his group of hopelessness people. Well, as you know, we'll be coming to the end, but before we go, and we are going to bring you the in-depth analysis of this very destitution that is going on with the Chief Bola Tinubu's government, and also the reactions that are coming from that very interview of Arise with Professor Yusuf, where he talks so much about the hopelessness of this very administration. But before then, I will not fail to remind you that Obidient Cooperative Society, a well-formed arm of the Obidient movement, is currently doing registrations across state governments. That is creating an identity for the Obidient across the whole local governments in Nigeria. We have 774 local governments, and we expect that Obidient should reconnect with each other in these very regions so that they can continue to transact on different businesses that they are in for, so that we know that they are actually doing well, because the country is really very tough and very, very difficult. We wish that all of them should come together, engage themselves in a transaction, a business transaction that can also show that they are united as far as welfare is concerned. We are not talking about politics now. We are talking about the Obedience coming together in engaging themselves in a transactional manner, doing business together. And of course, we will support them. We've had discussions with people in diaspora who are looking out for grants that are going to come in different places, as they seem to have been sidelined in their own country. I'm talking about the Obedient. So wherever you are, please do make our time to find out the gathering where the cooperative of Obedience in your local government is happening. Or you can also click on the link that is shown on this very video, or the description of this video, you will find a link that will take you to the community platform. That is the WhatsApp community platform, where you could actually interact with Obedients who are in different states and in different local government, who had actually registered with their state government as a cooperative society. Until we come your way again later today, do not fail to like and share and subscribe so that Obedience will know that there's a registration of the cooperatives going on right now across the 774 local governments in Nigeria. Let's take the tidbits that came out from that interview of Professor Yusuf talking about the hopelessness in this very administration. Let's take a listen before we go.
Northeast, Southeast. When we were growing up, we didn't have Northwest, Northeast, North Central, North this, North that, North that. We had one Nigeria. And all you hear are lamentations. So we need this, we need this, we need this, we need this, we need this. Yeah, every region, we have issues. What is the Northeast Development Commission doing? What have they done since they were inaugurated? They were brought to develop the Northeast after the ravages of Boko Haram. What have they done, and what have been the roles of these governors in holding them accountable? In the last government, President Buhari's government, they had a very good representation. The chief of staff was the one that shepherded the creation of Northeast Development Commission. And now there is a vice president, there is NSA, there is, what are they doing to address these issues?
How bad is the seeming neglect of the Northeast region of the country? You understand that region very well.
No, Northwest. I understand Northwest. I don't know Northeast. I'll tell you, the North. We complain in the Northwest that we had a president that we never had anything from. Go to Katsina today, where I come from. There's nothing that we had a president for 8 years. The Northwest, let him tell us what he's done. He couldn't even complete the Abuja to Kano highway for 8 years. How more neglectful can that be?
The same thing that the governor of the Northeast is saying. They say, in fact, in terms of infrastructure, the economic corridors have been abandoned.
Absolutely.
In terms of road network, in terms of railway construction. I mean, what has been happening so much that it looks like this has happened over the years without anybody? Could it be the insurgency that has ravaged that region, that destroyed all of this infrastructure? Or that region has been like that for years?
No, I'm not, and I'm not minimizing the issues that the governors are raising. The Northeast, because of Boko Haram, has literally been devastated. You sit down with senior military officers that were there, that fought in the field, they will tell you, this is not what we would wish for any region. The whole region has been devastated. Outside Maiduguri, there's not much. The whole region, education is pillaged. We have malnutrition there, the health. Look at the number of doctors in Maiduguri. You would cry. The region has suffered the devastation of Boko Haram, and that is what we are seeing here. And that's exactly what is translating in the Northwest. The region has been in a mess for now 15 years, fighting a war for 15 years. No region can sustain what the Northeast has gone through. The question is, what have the governors been doing? What do they do? Now governors are awash with money after removal of subsidy. How have they been taking care of the issues of the people? Education, health. They went to Bauchi and they inaugurated the mansion of the government house, as if that's the priority of people of Bauchi. Governors are awash with money and their priorities are messed up. The reality is, in the North, not only the Northeast, 3 major problems: ravaging insecurity, excruciating poverty, and hunger. It's all over the region.
You talked about that too.
All over the region.
They say that the socio-economic situation in the Northeast is very bad.
Absolutely.
Our nation is structured. Our federal system is structured. It's supposed to allow the federating units to be able to live their own lives in such a way that they can stand on their own and minimally look up to the center for help. but it does look like everyone suck up to the to the center.
Yeah, because that's
and the survivor of the constituent unit is limited.
Right, because that's where all the money is. That's where all the money is. Anybody that has the money, and then he has control of everybody else goes to him. And this is what all the governors do. They go with their pants every month, collect the money, and a lot of them go to the BDC, change the money into dollars, nothing get back home. This is the sad situation we are in. In the North, if I'm the president or if I'm the governor in any state, we are richer than the South.
In what sense?
Many ways. Three things. The North, agriculture, if we concentrate on three things: agriculture, solid minerals, and solar, we'll be done. All the water, all the hydroelectric power stations are in the North. Mambila. The Northeast is complaining there's no power. When
Mambila isn't, nothing is happening.
Yeah.
There are a lot of lamentation.
Yeah, who was there? Who was there before? If we had developed Mambila, we wouldn't be in this mess. The North is richer than the South. We need
in terms of agriculture, untapped deposits.
Absolutely. We have the land for agriculture. We can feed not only Nigeria, but the whole of West Africa. Secure our people, let them go back to the farm. Number two, and do not abandon agriculture and go and run after this oil that is fluctuating all over the place. Solid minerals, we have it all. Why is the fight in Zamfara and all over this northwestern state? Because of gold.
Largely.
Yeah, a lot of it. And then previously in the last government, the National Security Advisor will come and say, oh, mining has been banned, no fly zone, no follow-up. Thirdly, and people should ask, where has been the gold of Zamfara? Where is the gold? We have the sun. We can power not only the region, but we can power the whole of the country. Whatever, all the governors largely, I mean, look, we look at the president more than we look at the governors. To be honest with you, largely 80% of our problems are the governors. Politicians are not doing their part. They are not.
What would you say, what do you think they should be doing?
Politicians? A lot of the drivers of banditry, insecurity, the levers, governors and politicians have it in their hands. Education, malnutrition, drugs, unemployment. These are the drivers that fuel all of this. And you're calling soldiers to come and fight this when the politician has it. He's living here as if it is 1999 and sending soldiers to quell, to shoot places where there's no water, where there is no food. The military, we are putting them in an impossible situation where politicians are not doing their part. They're getting frustrated, and we are seeing that period of frustration. They pulled out of 2 bandit-infested areas, one in Zamfara, in Maru, and one in Shiroro. They've taken hits all over this country. You hear from Delta to Zamfara to Katsina to Kaduna. Officers and men lost from ambushes. In the 8 months of this government, we've lost about, as is reported, many they don't report, over 500 officers and men in this conflict. Ambushes in these conflicts. For goodness sake. They are there to protect and save our people, and these terrorists are killing them. What are we doing? What are you doing? When you're doing your part. Sometimes I say, what am I doing? Everybody must do his part.
If you look at it fundamentally, and we need to start holding our politicians and those who are in power accountable. If you say they are corporate, and in all of this, and why we have so much of this eating into our polity and destroying a gradual destruction, because when the rats start eating up the bread, it eats it in crumbs until the bread vanishes. The question is that in the immediate, what can the average citizen be looking at as an expectation on the politicians, on the leaders who are in political power, whom you have accused of neglect to the people?
And I'm telling you, to be honest, the ordinary citizen has given up. He has given up.
On the politicians?
On the politicians. You go to, there is a report by the American Society or Nigerian Society of Hypertension. Doctors that take care of people who have hypertension. Of the 70 million Nigerians, adults that have hypertension, half of them, that's 35 million, are not on medication because of the skyrocketing cost of medications. They've stopped taking their medications. That's why we see a lot of complications from hypertension, strokes, heart disease, renal failure. People die. People don't go to hospital because they cannot afford it. It's not the soldier that does this. What is the price of a loaf of bread now? Family loaf in Abuja, 1,200, 1,300. You go to many villages. You bring out 1,000 naira, wallahi, nobody can give you change. That's how poor people are. Yet our leaders are here, they are disconnected from realities of our people. We've seen how the other time members of the Senate are saying, oh, this one got 500 million, this one got 200 million. They are disconnected from realities of our people. People have given up on them. There is nothing a politician from top, from local government to the president, that will tell the people that they will believe him now. This is the honest truth. They've lost faith. They've lost faith in our politicians with good reasons too. Because all deception, we're going to do this, nothing happens. Look at this. I mean, on the 8th of February, Mr. President gave an order, a directive, that 42,000 metric tons of grains should be taken out of strategic reserve silos and given to vulnerables. Today is 4 months. Which vulnerable Nigerian has gotten this? For one governor, one northern governor even declared 5 working days we are going to distribute this palliatives. Nothing happened. What really angers me, 64 years after independence, we are still distributing grains to people. Just like you see in the Sudan or in Gaza, in a country of plenty. In a country where we're building, the president is building a highway from Lagos to Calabar of 15.6 trillion. That is 56% of the 2024 budget. People are lining up to get cups of grains from the governors. All the windfall the governors get, they go back home, they give people grains, cups of grains, women and children to shut them up while they continue. And you expect peace? Can never be peace in a country like this.
Prof, if you look at the last, and we need to start holding government accountable and those who are in position of leadership, over the last 300 plus days of this government, how would you assess it?
I've said it. I've just written a paper that said Tinubu's reign of deception, destitution, and hopelessness. So we're going to do this. The example I just gave you, they're going to deliver palliatives in 4 months. Nobody has gotten it. It's one thing after the other. People have lost hope. Destitution, our people, it really hurts me and pains me to see our people, predominantly women and children, lining up.
The government promised renewed hope.
To get cups. Renewed hope has turned into hopelessness. Get any young man anywhere on the streets. We're even talking of Abuja, go to the villages, where we all come from. People have lost hope.
The government says that, I mean, it's an initial pangs of pains of the policies, that things will start getting better. Are you hopeful at all that some of these policies may be good in its sense, but maybe we are not seeing the result just yet?
No, I honestly, I mean, and I've been here before. So I want in the last 1 year, and from next week they will start telling us their propaganda. What have they done that has benefited the ordinary person? What have they done? In a span of 1 year, they have made millions more people back into multidimensional poverty. They have pushed millions more children into out of school because parents cannot pay for their school fees. They have put many more people hungry in 1 year. So what have you done? What have you done? I want government to tell us, don't give me the story about, oh, they're just floating the dollar. It's all another deception. You increase the taxes, you hike the interest rate. and you borrow money thinking you'll prop the naira artificially, and you keep taxing everybody. This is exactly what he did, what the president did in Lagos. Tax, 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 tax. And the economic team, to me, honestly, look more like tax collectors than economists. Taxation does not grow economies. Only production does.